Make the strings louder.
Alright guys, so we are cruising up to Denver. I'm going up to the insurance auto auctions today. I kind of did a little bit of an impulse purchase yesterday. I was just kind of watching some Saabs and random things go through, and then one of these things popped up in my watch list as being, you know, going for the day. So I started looking at it, and I put a bid. So I got my brother in here with me. I got David. My brother's sitting in the front seat, like with his knees up against the dash, because David
Somebody broke it.
Because David broke it.
I didn't break it. It was like that when I got in the truck.
Whatever, David broke it. But anyhow, this is, people need to quit moving to Colorado unless they drift, in which case that's okay. But other than that, I-25 is just like insane now. Denver's like little LA now as far as traffic goes. And so there she is.
As it pours gas out of the bottom.
Look at that car just fucking hit my thing.
Yeah, damn.
Oh, I don't like that. He's gonna fucking squash the whole underside of your cab.
Yeah, look at that.
Like, he's probably poking holes in the bottom of your floorboards right now. Are you getting this on film, Dave?
Yeah.
You better be. His forks ain't long enough.
Yeah, they're not.
They're fucking not long enough.
Nope. Tell me, go slow. No, go up. Go up. Point up. There you go. No, go that way a little bit. This way. Is he started or what?
Here, put that in here.
Why? Where am I putting this in?
Check the oil first, or did he?
I don't know.
He's gonna try starting it.
Ask him if he checked the oil. That's probably, oh yeah, there's oil. Oh yeah, there's oil in it.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Here, give it a little wipe on something.
I don't have anything to wipe it.
Wipe it on.
Here.
Go find something to wipe it on. Just wipe it on that.
Alright guys, so here she is. So this is a 2011 Ford F350. It has the 6.7 Powerstroke in it, and basically I bought this thing at the same auctions that I buy the Saabs and stuff at, and kind of as an unknown. So it's a mechanical issue, and it said front. So I'm assuming something with the engine. We tried cranking it over in the, basically kind of as soon as it got on the trailer, and it didn't fire right up or anything. So I mean, it could be a ton of random issues. I'm not 100% sure. It does look like this truck came from a little bit up east. You can see there's a little bit of surface rust starting to form right here, you know, and a little bit on like the front axle and stuff, but nothing like major. Doesn't look like it's going through anywhere. Just looks like surface so far. So I guess kind of the plan with this thing right now is kind of a test. So I've wanted one of these 6.7 Powerstrokes for a while. I've kind of been told to stay away from the 2011s. I know they had a different, you know, high pressure fuel system, and you know, the turbos are known to go bad, and they have a plastic oil pan. But as far as I know, supposedly the trannies are a little bit better from like the 11 to 13s or 14s or something like that. So yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll really figure out what's up with this thing once we get it back to the shop, and I could plug my scanner into it and we could go from there. But I mean, it was just kind of one of those, you know, impulse purchases. I did get a pretty decent deal on this, you know, compared to like what a running one is. It's about half price, maybe actually a little bit more than half price is what I got it. So you know, these things sell for, I think about 22 to 24, somewhere in there. And then, so I kind of left some buffer in there just in case I do need to purchase like an engine or something, which at that point I could put in the 2015 engine that typically has the better turbocharger, because the turbos on these ones are a little bit finicky. It's kind of like this dual vane. It basically looks like 2 compressor wheels, like back to back. And they're kind of finicky on these ones. I also heard that, you know, high pressure fuel system, so like that pump could go bad if, you know, it had water in the fuel or something. But I mean, the truck overall looks really clean. It doesn't look like it was a work truck or, you know, necessarily like a work hands truck where it got super beat up. It does have this kind of ugly looking carpet in here, but if you pull that back, it's actually the vinyl floor, and the vinyl floor looks like brand new. All the door panels and stuff don't look super beat up. The seats are pretty clean. Doesn't really look like they detailed it or had to detail it. It does have 111,000 miles on it, but like I said, I found a 2015 6.7 Powerstroke engine locally with supposedly 5,000 miles on it for $6,000. So that'll put me in this truck, you know, quite a bit underneath, you know, kind of what it should be worth. And I guess kind of the plan is I want to drive it for a little bit, kind of see what I think about it, see if this is something that I could kind of see myself in, and maybe go from there. See if I like it, maybe put the leather like lariat interior in, because that's what I was kind of holding out for. I've been looking at like a lot of flood trucks and auction trucks, and the one thing I liked about this one is it's here in Colorado. It was really clean. It has a clean Colorado title. So I don't have to worry about it being like a flood truck or anything like that, which who knows, maybe it got flooded like 20 years, or not 20, but it's like 6 years ago or something. But overall, I mean, it seems decent. Like I said, we cranked it over at the, I'll give it another crank real quick, see what the actual fuel gauge. So it has half tank of fuel. It's in 4x2. It has a check engine light, which I don't know exactly what that is. I wonder if it'll actually show me on the dash. So typically these things like fire right up. I kind of heard maybe a little bit of a like kind of like a little imbalance in the crank. So I mean, these I guess the 2011s and a little bit earlier ones are kind of known for like dropping valves, or their valves overheating and basically cracking and kind of exploding in the engine. So I hope that that's not what is up with this. I mean, I'm gonna plan for the worst and you know, expect the best is pretty much all I could do for here. So, you know, like I said, worst case scenario, could you know, basically throw a 15 engine out of here in here and you know, I guess go from there, see how that works. But I mean, the back seats look really clean. Like I said, it has the vinyl underneath this carpet. It does have, the kick panel is pulled over there, and it does have like the fuses and stuff. So I'm not sure exactly what happened with there. The other one thing that if I did decide to keep this truck, is I'd probably get rid of this console and actually put in the full length one. One of the things I really liked about the 2013 and ups was they had like the nice, you know, digital dash and stuff, but at the same time, that's just more stuff to kind of distract you. Like I said, you know, I figure I could fix this thing, drive it for, you know, a couple months or so, and you know, sell it and go from there. So, and I won't lose any money, which will be cool. And you know, I've always kind of wanted to get into like these generation of trucks, like the 6.7s and stuff. If you guys know from a lot of my past videos, I've worked on a lot of like 6 liters and 7.3s and stuff. But I've always kind of, you know, wanted to dive into one of these, and yeah, so impulse buy, and kind of an investment, and you know, something that I don't think I'm going to lose money on. And yeah, so I guess that's pretty much it. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to get this thing going back down south. We got about it's like a 2.5 hour drive. You can see my truck squatted just a little bit. You know, we got this trailer, heavy duty trailer with the 8 lug axles on it, but it you know, it's sitting pretty far forward on it. But yeah, I don't know, I hope I could get this thing going reasonably, you know, reasonably priced, and I don't have to throw an engine in it. But you know, worst case scenario, I guess that's what it is. But I mean, the tires look pretty good in it. The bed looks really clean on the inside. Doesn't look like they're throwing boulders or anything in it, which is always good. Like I said, I don't think it was necessarily a work truck. It doesn't even have a gooseneck ball in it. So I don't know, it would be cool to have a little bit more of a backstory on it. Looks like they had a couple things drilled in here. Maybe they had like a rubber mat in it, but yeah, I don't know. I wish I had my code reader here. I could run the codes on it, but I forgot it at the shop. That's probably something I should have done. But yeah, I guess home we go. All right, guys. So we just got back to the shop. Big Dirty did a hell of a job towing its younger, more, I guess, pissed off brother. So we got this little like ramp here at the shop. So I'm gonna go ahead and it should be able to roll back. Then I'll be able to pull my truck out and then pull it over here, so it's at least I can actually kind of like put the jump starter on it and kind of go from there. But guess what else showed up while I was gone? So I actually ended up purchasing this. This is a 2008, or maybe it's an 09. I don't know. I forget. I think it's 08. Saab 9.3. It's the Aero Turbo V6 manual. This is a flood car from Houston, or the San Antonio area. And so anyhow, you guys remember my, I wonder if, yeah, oh wow, look how moist it is inside.
Moist. It doesn't look moist.
It smells moist. Well, look at the windows.
Oh yeah, I mean, they vacuumed it.
It's definitely moist.
Here's the water line, so it didn't probably get any of the ECU stuff.
Where's the water? Oh wow.
Right there.
Yeah, there she is. Yeah, they definitely extracted water out of it though.
Yeah, I bet you it just probably has. Probably doesn't even have water. Probably has to start up.
Yeah. Oh wow. I mean, well, the oil looks alright. Yeah, the oil looks. So this is my first time seeing it, other than in person, or other than on the internet. But yeah, if so anyhow, like I said in previous videos, like on Jamie's car, hers is the Aero with the 08 front end, and the 08 front end is really expensive on these cars. Even just the hood alone is like $600 and some. These headlights, which these are the HID with the self-leveling, and they turn when you turn the steering wheel. These headlights, just for a pair of them, like new, I think they're like $1,000 a piece per headlight. Even used, they're like $500. So his headlights are super expensive. The front bumpers are, $400 to $600, and just in general, really expensive cars. And so this is the 6-speed manual as well. But if you guys look at the color, it's that dark blue. I have this other Saab, which is the wagon that I got from the auction here locally, and so it's obvious it's no flood thing, but the subframe in the front is pretty bashed in. Radiator, condenser, intercooler. Hood, radiator support, headlights, fenders, all that stuff, as well as the transmission. It messed up the transmission mount. So this is literally, I could not have asked for a better donor car, because it's the same year, same color, same exact package. There's also this door too, this passenger door on the bottom has a little bit of damage right there. So literally I could just pretty much bolt everything in. As far as,
did you see that?
What?
So because of the moisture, look at the mold on the back thing.
Oh wow, that's gross.
Yeah.
Moldy.
I'd roll the windows down so it dries out.
Yeah, just let it air out.
There's some water still on that floorboard right there.
Oh yeah, she's wet, boys. She's wet. But I mean, like the fuel pumps. This one has like 80-some thousand miles on it, I think. But the fuel pumps in these things are expensive for the fuel level sensing units. I don't know. Basically super expensive car to kind of fix unless you end up getting a parts car. So it's crazy because I got that car over there for $250 at the auction plus fees and all that other stuff. I think I have like $800 in it after all that stuff. This car I actually have like $2,400 in, but it'll definitely make up for it in all the parts and stuff. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get this the new truck unloaded, and we're not gonna tell Big Dirty what he was towing. I don't want him mad at me. All right, so got it all unstrapped and got the ramps out. Typically I like to put a jack stand under the back of all these things, just so it doesn't like pogo stick my truck, or like basically like kind of teeter-totter the truck and lift it up, because there's so much weight going to be on the back of this thing. So yeah, I guess we'll see how she does.
How do you get
up in that thing?
Yeah.
Step ladder? SEMA truck.
Oh yeah, the battery definitely needs to be charged. All right, turn your wheel straight. Okay, you go slow. Yeah, keep coming. Keep coming. You should be good. You're good. Just roll back. Just roll back. Roll back so you don't lose all your momentum. Tight. All right. Brake.
All right, so let the battery charge up a little bit. It was at like 11.5 or so. Now it's at 12.6. So maybe that'll kind of help it out a little bit. But so it's throwing a bunch of codes. I'll show you guys the codes on my phone. Little video I got of them or whatever. But I don't know. I'm kind of not exactly sure. I mean, I've never even messed with one of these things like even a little bit. Oh, look at this. Huh. So this harness right here is okay. So that's like almost looks like it's chewed. Okay, look at this. Uh-oh. So that looks like it's chewed. So look at this. So it was giving me an EGR code right there. Look at that harness. So that harness is chewed. I wonder. So it's throwing like a cylinder 4 contribution balance, like injector, glow plug, not injector, but like glow plug, all them codes. So I was almost kind of assuming, because it's a bunch of random codes. It's not like just one code. So maybe it has like mouse damage, because I mean, look at that. That thing's chewed. This thing right here is chewed. I don't know. If I could, I wonder if I could even see like the harness up under here. Let's look. Huh. Hard to say. I think this right here, like that guy right there, I'm pretty sure that's the glow plug, but it's doing like glow plug harness, like open circuit type of stuff. I don't know. I'm gonna look at it. I need to look at it. So into digging into it a little bit further, look at this plug right here, and look at all that black tape. So that's not Ford black tape. Same thing with this. And then there's the little cut wires or whatever right there. So I don't know. I'm gonna pull off this black tape and see what's underneath it. All right, so this is what we found underneath that. So the wires look like they're connected though. So we're gonna crank it again and see kind of what happens. I don't know, you could kind of hear like a little bit of a, like something over here, but I don't know. It's weird, but anyhow, it's kind of chilly out here, so I'm gonna go home and do a bunch of research on the internet, see if I could kind of maybe figure out a game plan with this thing, or you know, get a little bit more insight, maybe ask around in some of the forums. But I mean, yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll be back tomorrow to take a look at it a little bit. All right, so I'm back here during the day, kind of checking a few things out, and so yeah, now that you could actually see a little bit over here, I have the actual key on right now, but so you can see all these wires over here. These ones all look like they're actually connected. Doesn't look like there's anything that's been, you know, chewed up enough. And then all of even like these butt connects, you know, you could pull on them and then you look down in there and it looks like they have good wire on them and a decent connection. You know, I mean, I guess as good as you could get. This EGR solenoid right here, that's for sure doesn't have connection. And then this power plug right here, whatever that goes to, I don't know what that actually goes to, but you could see where I removed all the tape off of it, and you could see that kind of mess that it is. The other thing is right below the battery, you can see there's like this little thing, like a little fuse thing. Maybe this is like some sort of fusible link. But yeah, so you could see right there, it's got like a little bit of rust on it. And then if you like go down there a little bit, you could see it's kind of green, kind of oozing out the sides, which is like, you know, battery corrosion or whatever. So maybe it doesn't have a good connection there. You know, they obviously put brand new batteries in this thing. So I'm thinking it's I don't know, I kind of feel like it has something to do with you know, fuse boxes or sensors or voltage, or you could also, now that looks like factory tape. The other thing is this fuse box right here, it's basically was just like this. If you look down there, that one has corrosion on it as well, and you could tell that this, you know, this little fuse box has been kind of open to the elements for a little while. I'm not sure how long this truck was actually sitting here. You can tell it had like some sort of like an antenna or something on it right there. Yeah, the other thing is, you know, when we first got to the truck, you could see that fuse box down over there is open as well. So yeah, I'm running this, running the scanner on it, and so it has 12 faults for the PCM. I think 2 or 3 of those are actually from the mass airflow sensor, because I disconnected it because I kind of pulled off that lid and made sure it had an air filter in it. But so ICP pressure, injection control pressure too low, engine cranking, low pressure fuel system sensor circuit. You scroll up, so we got EGR, cooling valve control circuit open. I'm assuming that's that, you know, that code over there. Cylinder 4 glow plug circuit, reductant pressure sensor circuit low. I'm not sure exactly what that is. Intake air temperature sensor circuit high input. That's probably the mass airflow sensor, because it should have the IET in it, kinda. Mass volume airflow circuit, EGR cooling valve control circuit open, cylinder 4 glow plug circuit, reductant pressure sensor, intake air temp sensor, mass air volume circuit. So yeah, seems like it's kind of something kind of weird like that. The other thing is so you can see right here, it has 2 ABS faults on it too. So if we scroll down and we look at the ABS stuff, so you can see ABS power supply. It says, you know, and then body control module right there, and it says battery voltage, start button indicator. I don't know. So it kind of seems like power. I mean, it seems like power is the issue here. Is it's not getting power at once, or, you know, maybe the fuel pump isn't, you know, high pressure fuel like system, low pressure fuel system. It seemed like the low pressure fuel system sensor and the ICP pressure is too low. So, I mean, if it doesn't see good ICP pressure, it definitely isn't going to start. So, I don't know. Let me crank this thing. Yeah, it definitely doesn't seem like it wants to start. So we're gonna go ahead and quit. I'm gonna go plug in the mass airflow sensor again. So I'm kind of in the live data right here. So you could see right here we have the commanded fuel pressure A, commanded fuel pressure rail B, and so yeah, when you crank it, so you can see it's commanding the fuel, but the fuel just isn't there. It just shows 0 PSI, so that's kind of weird. Sometimes these scanners, you know, certain things don't actually move, but I don't know, that's just something I noticed as I'm scrolling through the things and kind of cranking on it and seeing what actually happens. So I don't know, that may be an issue right there, is maybe the high pressure fuel system is bad, because I know that's a common thing. All right, so maybe good news, maybe bad news. I guess it's all bad news, because it's not, I don't think it's going to be as simple as I would have liked. So anyhow, basically on these, this is a whole new learning process for me, going through this whole, you know, 6.7 Powerstroke thing, trying to learn everything that's different about these things. Basically, they have, instead of like a high pressure oil system, they have a high pressure fuel system. So it's very similar to like a Duramax or like a common rail Cummins. So basically anything newer than like 04.5 on a Cummins, basically they just have a high pressure fuel rail instead of like a high pressure oil rail that uses like the oil as like a hydraulic fluid to you know, fire the injectors or whatever. These, you know, typically on that, like the oil pressure is like 3 to 5,000 or so, something like that. And you know, it's like 70 psi of fuel pressure, whereas on these things, it's they're basically just like 4,000 pounds of fuel pressure. You know, between like 4 and 6,000, somewhere in there. But yeah, so essentially, it has a high pressure fuel pump. So you know, it pressurizes it up here about 50, 60 psi or whatever, somewhere in there, and then it takes that and it goes through this little pump that's basically connected. It's down in there, and anyhow, it basically turns that fuel pressure into like 4,000, and then you can see over here that little rail right there is the high pressure fuel rail, and then it has a regulator on the back of it. So it has a volume regulator down there, and then it has a pressure regulator back over there, and then it basically has two rails on or one rail on each side of the engine, so 2 rails. And yeah, so it's I don't know if it's more complicated, less complicated, but it's definitely different to learn how to diagnose, especially since this thing's only basically giving me one code, and I have like 0 fuel pressure showing up on for the fuel rails. So I you know, unplugging it goes to like, you know, 300,000 psi or whatever, just because that's its universal setting. So I was reading some stuff on the internet. And so you can see I have a pair of vice grips right there, and then I have a piece of blue, like basically like a vacuum line or whatever going on there. But essentially, this line that I have vice gripped right now, that is like the return. And so what's supposed to happen is when you're cranking this thing, I guess it's that regulator or the control pressure, it's supposed to kind of bleed off a little bit of the fuel at first. So it'll kind of dribble a little bit, and then it's supposed to kind of seal up, you know, after it kind of gets like the fuel flowing, I guess. And so anyhow, I'm basically testing that, and so I have it coming out to, like, I basically pulled that off so that I could see the fuel that was coming off of it. And yeah, so anyhow, another thing you could kind of do to test, I guess, to see if your high pressure oil pump is good or bad or whatever, is basically kind of drain some of that fuel into a like a black, like this is a lid from a paint cap, like a brand new clean one, but you could kind of see in there. Just go focus for me. You can kind of see in there, there's a little bit of stuff. So I'm not quite sure. Initially I had it draining into an oil pan, but you know, you can't really trust oil pans because, you know, all the random motors and stuff we swapped around here. So yeah, that's why I put it in that cap. So that kind of leads me to believe that it may potentially be the high pressure fuel pump. And the bad thing is, and I guess kind of what leads to some of that is, since these trucks are very, very sensitive to water in the fuel and contamination. So basically the fuel is the lubricant for this little high pressure fuel pump. And it basically has these like little pistons going up and down in this aluminum housing. And it kind of has these little cams that kind of roll across this thing. And basically if you get any sort of water in there at all, if it makes it past like the fuel water separator, basically it just does not lubricate that. It's like water, you know, for like your cylinder walls or your car essentially. And yeah, so that basically, and then the issue then is that puts all of that oil, or not the oil, but it puts all of those little like tiny pieces of metal into the fuel system, which then could go through the injectors, which then could like hang one of your injectors open, which could cause you to like melt down a piston. So it's I don't know, it's kind of one of those things, you know, it may not need a motor, it might need a motor, but you know, I guess essentially in the meantime, I guess the process of I guess that I need to take is Ford actually makes like a contamination kit, which basically replaces both of the fuel rails, all of the fuel rail lines, all of the injectors, the like high pressure fuel pump. I think you're supposed to, you know, flush out like the low pressure fuel pump and all that other stuff. And there's like a fuel cooler and all kinds of stuff. But so that's like $4,000. I found an engine locally out of a 2015 for $6,000. So, you know, it's like, what do? Do you spend all that time and throw the fuel stuff at it? And you know, technically this is the 2011 one with the not as great turbo. I don't know. So I guess it's kind of confusing. I'm gonna do a little bit more diagnosing to it. I went ahead and I pulled off the intake over here, and so one of the things I want to do is get to that volume regulator and pull that out, double check it, see kind of what it looks like. And there's a couple of little testing procedures I could do with it and make sure that it's not just like not letting any fuel go by, because that's an option too. But yeah, and maybe that, you know, the stuff was just in this line right here. I don't know. I'm as confused as ever. This is something I've never really messed with. These things are they're new and they're dope, but they're expensive. All right, so basically what I did is I went ahead and I removed the IPR, essentially, which is the injection pressure. This is the actual, controls the PSI of it. There's the other thing that's on the top of the pump is actually what controls the volume. So if I could get this thing to focus, I'll have to come over here. Okay. So look at this guy. If you look at that, that's like pitted and rusty. So that 100% should not have any rust on it or any pitting or anything to do with anything like that. So one of the other things, the testing procedures that I kind of read online, this one guy had this really good article and doesn't have any replies. He just like told people how to diagnose like a high pressure fuel system on these. So we'll go ahead and look at this. This is the new sample I got from basically in there. So basically I just had that off, or had the ICP off of it, and then just turned the key on just for a second, and then yeah, so I got basically a new sample of fuel without actually, so it gets like a full sample. So that other thing is on the top of the fuel rail, so all of like the sediment and stuff would kind of be at the bottom. So this kind of shot a bunch of that out, so you could see right there all of the crap that's in the fuel system. So I don't know, I did that real quick just because I was getting ready to kind of pull that off and get to that stuff. But I kind of feel like at this point it's going to be, you know, you definitely, I either need to pull the injectors out completely and clean the rail and, you know, all that stuff, send the injectors out to actually be tested and, you know, make sure that they're still in good condition and all that stuff. Or like I said, Ford sells that complete kit. It's like $4,000, and it comes with pretty much everything. And you know, I'll have to basically replace all the injectors, high pressure fuel pump. I don't know if it does a low pressure, but you know, I don't know. That's kind of an expensive solution, especially, you know, when a whole new, like I said, a whole new like Ford, like a 2015 swap. Off of Craigslist, I guess it was out of like a wreck truck or something, has like 5,000 miles on it, and they're asking like $6,000. And that comes with like the updated 2015 turbo, a little bit different high pressure fuel pump in it, I guess. And yeah, so essentially all that would take is just kind of programming it, you know, and then I could probably sell this whole setup, you know, the heads, the long block, everything, you know, double check the compression, make sure it's good. And I could probably sell this long block essentially for probably $4,000. So I'd maybe, you know, $3,000 to $4,000 somewhere in there. So I'd only be into like a 2015 engine in this thing for like $3,000 to $4,000. But that also involves, you know, removing the cab, swapping the engines, which is kind of complicated. But I could probably do it in, you know, maybe a weekend if I had David over here helping me pretty good. But I don't know. Like I said, I was getting ready to kind of take off the intake a little bit more, but I kind of feel like I know the issue now. The only other thing I might do is do a compression test on number 4, because it said glow plug circuit. You know, or maybe pull the number 4 glow plug out and make sure that's good. And 'cause that's also another issue with the early ones, especially with the early build date like this one. This one has an earlier build date. It was like in 2010. Whereas the glow plugs actually have they were bad or whatever, and they basically kind of the tip can potentially break off, and then that destroys the whole cylinder or whatever. So yeah, I guess that's where we're at. So I might pull that, but yeah, either that or I'm gonna start putting stuff back together. All right, guys. Well, I guess some pretty bad news. So one of the other issues that these things have for the early build date, as you can see right here, these are glow plugs. This is number 3, and this was number 4. So basically, how these things work is 1, 2, 3, 4. And so this is the very, very back one, and I was kind of curious about that glow plug. It's basically glow plug, short circuit, blah, blah, blah. It was angry. And yeah, now I know why. So on the early build date on these things, especially the early build date on these things, they had a issue with the glow plugs, where basically the tip of it would fall off and bang around in the cylinder and basically mess the whole thing up. So I'm pretty much assuming that that's exactly what happened here, and so yeah, I guess I'm not going to be ordering a bunch of fuel system stuff. I'm probably just going to go ahead and try to pick up that other engine, that 2015, and basically just swap everything over. Basically pull the cab on this guy, put the 15 engine in there, and obviously go through the fuel system and make sure everything's still good, but it will have its own injectors and high pressure oil rail and all that other stuff. The only weird thing kind of about these 6.7s, as you can see right there, that is basically the injector like schematic, I guess. So each injector has to be like individually programmed to the engine, and I'm not sure exactly why. I'm assuming because they're like super like finicky and like pulse widths and all that stuff, as far as exactly how much. And I know there's like offsets and stuff, so where the truck will actually learn like almost each injector so that it runs like perfectly smooth, and that's why these things are so damn quiet. But yeah, I'm definitely glad I pulled that before I started taking anything else apart. So I guess that kind of tells me a lot of pretty much tells me exactly what I need to do and what's ahead of me. So I guess that's probably gonna be it for this video, guys. I don't know. I'm kind of disappointed. I can't say that I'm super mad though, because basically going into this truck, seeing it as a mechanical failure like that, or a mechanical loss on the thing, I basically knew that it could potentially be it need an engine or whatever. So I knew that going into this thing, so I can't really be mad. I was really excited the other day when I thought that it was just a wiring issue, but kind of from the get-go, when I first heard this thing crank, how it had that that like skip in it, or like that little like hump, that pretty much told me that there's kind of like an imbalance in the cylinders. And I was kind of hoping that maybe it could just be something else, but kind of always had it in the back of my head that this thing could need an engine. So I guess this is kind of the the best thing that could happen to this truck, though, is the 2011 updating it to the 2015. That'll be better. So I guess we'll go from there. Like I said, this is kind of a test truck for me. Test truck / investment. So we'll see what I think about the 6.7. It's kind of scaring me away from them. Seeing how expensive this stuff is, and how kind of something so simple as a little bit of water in the fuel system, or filling up with bad gas, could cause a big issue. These things underneath the truck over here, they have this big, it's like a fuel system. So you can see that right there, and see that yellow drain petcock or whatever. You're supposed to drain that every now and then. One guy said he drains like almost like a cup out every time he makes a payment on the truck, and that's just kind of extra insurance. That's like the water air, or like the water fuel separator. So yeah, I know a lot of kind of my explanations on this this whole 6.7 process are kind of long-winded, and a lot of you guys here for the 240 and the Supra and stuff, you guys are like, why the hell is this guy messing with this truck right now? And like I said, I've been looking at these things over the past year, and basically treating it as an investment, and yeah, that's pretty much it. But yeah, I will we'll get back to working on this thing. I'm kind of waiting for some parts to show up, as well as kind of for me to say, okay, yeah, we're gonna spray it again. But yeah, push this guy outside and I guess figure it out. So like I said, I appreciate you guys watching, and maybe I'll sell it. I thought about that too, you know, other than like spending all the time and effort on this thing. I thought about just, you know, posting it and say, hey, you know, it has an issue with the motor or whatever, you know, explain the situation with it, tell them that, you know, it either needs rebuilt or replaced, see if I could basically, like, you know, just like wipe my hands clean of it, basically just kind of walk away. I don't know, that's kind of the option, but let me know what you guys think. I'll put a little poll, you know, up here in the thing, and yeah, again, appreciate you guys watching, and I guess we'll see what I end up doing with this thing.